less money than we think, and we spend way more money than we'd like to admit.
It's true.
So Spike, what advice would you give for someone that is going to sell a lot of real estate and make a lot of gross income?
Get ahead of it. I mean, our first year that we sold a lot of real estate, we were behind it and we really paid a price for it. If you get ahead of it and you're well planned out with your finances, then it'll run just a like a smooth ship on nice water. So um, that's probably the best thing to do is get ahead of it, be well organized, and be smart about it.
Love it. Now, Cynthia, you and I, have we ever had a conversation?
We have never had a conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I love that Glenn gave me the opportunity to do this. Cynthia, can you give us a snapshot of you and or your team, if you have one, just so I can have a little bit of understanding where my questions might come from?
Certainly. We're a team of 4. I am team lead, so I work with my daughter and 2 other agents, and we closed 103 transactions in 2017 and just under that in 2018.
That's fantastic. I'm sure there's a lot of great things that I could ask you. What triggered for me there was, how long have you been working with your daughter?
I've been working with my daughter 3 years now. I think 3 years. She came in as a
What?
brand new agent, and she's a rock star.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing how you speak towards her. What would you have liked to have known 3 years ago that you know now about working with a family member?
I have to say we've never really had any issues because I have a lot of kids, and ever since she was little, we've always done entrepreneurial or things for church or whatever. So it was just one of those things of trying to give her enough guidance and step out of her way that I wouldn't be in her way. I guess trying not to be in her way and saying, oh, you need to do it a certain way, because we don't do everything the exact same way.
I love it. So it sounds like you guys are good communicators with each other.
We try to communicate well. Sometimes we don't, but most of the time we do.
um, how long have you been selling real estate?
I've been in business for 20 years.
And when was it that you decided to be a team, or have you always been a team? Walk me through that transition.
Um, I don't feel like I have a good team, not because I don't have good people, just because I think I have a lot of room for improvement for me to be a better leader. But back in like '08, when the market crashed, I went towards foreclosures and short sales because I knew that's where my market was going. And I didn't have a team. It was me by myself. And I was running around, literally working from 6 in the morning until like 1 in the morning and trying to do everything myself. And I went to my manager and said, I need help. So his help to me was, well, give it to this agent or give it to that agent and take a referral fee. And oh boy, that was not the right, not the right thing. So, I guess I really started getting a team when I owned my own brokerage. I came from another brokerage that you guys all know, Keller Williams. So um, when I went there, I couldn't run brokerage and produce without a team. So I guess that's when I kind of really got more serious about it. But I still feel like I'm failing my way forward.
Well, you know what? The reality is a team is like growing a business, and what we want is we want a business to be what we'd like it to overnight. Yet most businesses take quite a bit more time, energy, and effort than we would like to admit. Would you say that's an accurate statement, or would you change anything in that statement?
No, I would say that is a 110% accurate statement. you know, we're so conditioned that we want everything now or yesterday that we don't understand that it really takes a lot of hard work and a lot of trial and error to make it work. What might work for one team won't even work for your team, you know, so you kind of have to talk to people and find out what they're doing, what's working for them, what's not working for them, try it in your team. If it doesn't work, then drop it really quickly and try to move on to something else. And I think you really need to have your team sometimes be a part of
life, right? Which we all have. Now, people have gone before us, and some of us will choose to pay the price, which is going and shadowing somebody like Cynthia and asking questions, not telling, asking questions, because something tells me I could ask you questions all day long, and the lessons there would go on and on and on. Is that fair?
I think that's a pretty accurate statement. I can tell you all the things I did wrong.
Well, and here's the thing is you did a lot of things wrong, yet you've also done a bunch of things right, yet you had to do them wrong before you did them right. And what I want us to all to think about is, are we going to learn from the lessons of others, which you guys are doing here, or are you going to make all the mistakes yourself? And we don't have enough time to make the mistakes ourselves. Now, and is it how do we say your name? Is it Madi?
It's Madhu.
Magoo? I'm sorry, Magoo?
Madhu with an H.
Madhu.
Madhu,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And what part of Ontario are you in?
I'm in Sarnia, Ontario. We border Michigan. We are right on the other side of Port Huron.
Yep,
It's not.
every time I went there to play hockey, you guys started fights with me.
Hey, now that's a Canada thing, right?
It's like the Americans come over, let's fight them.
It's yeah.
I love it. So,
They
are
fight
you?
regardless.
What was that?
They fight regardless. That's a hockey thing. So don't feel
So,
left out.
tell us a little bit about where you are in real estate today.
Wow. $1 million question. Where am I in real estate today? I'm at a crossroad where how to scale my business and still keep the authenticity that I bring to the table. And that's why I got into real estate when I chose to go into real estate. So just trying to find the balance where run a big scale business and still be authentic and have that one-on-one connection with my clients. So that's
Could I challenge you on this?
100%.
So, I believe in a model that subtraction leads to multiplication. And let me just give me 30 seconds to describe what I'm talking about. Mine has given us a model where we subtract and we help others win. And by helping others win, we win. So scalability through EXP is very easy because we don't have to do more transactions. We can help other agents win. Therefore, we win in other ways, which Glenn has set up. So what would it look like if you didn't have to scale your business, you just helped everybody else scale their business?
And what a beautiful thing you've just asked me. And that is what I'm working on this year. My model is how can I help other people bring to the table what I've learned.
Well, and this is why I think Glenn is so brilliant. You guys, I do not kiss people's butts. I think Glenn's model is brilliant because it's the first model where we can pour into other people, not to have our hand in every cookie jar, help them outgrow us, and by them outgrowing us, we win at another level that we can only imagine. So what is the first thing that you need to subtract that would free up your time and help somebody else win?
More hours. I need to subtract more hours from day-to-day transaction that I'm doing personally because I don't have a team still.
Well,
And
and
how
here's
to
what
build.
challenge you. There's agents around you that could use a win, that they could use a closed transaction. And what I find with this company is if we help other people survive, we thrive. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is decide how many transactions you need in order for you to take care of your family. And then I would like for you to help other people win. And you watch when you help other people win, you'll be winning at a whole nother level. Do you think that's possible?
100%. That's already in the making. And I'm going to be reaching out to some of you incredible people at EXP to help me navigate this and not have the fear of
So,
making that transition, if that makes
well,
sense.
it makes complete sense. And I love that you just said fear, because when we act on fear, we're coming from scarcity and not abundance. And when we come from faith, we're coming from abundance. Now, Spike, you've been in my crazy world for a while. What is something that you've learned from myself or from the others that we run with that you feel might be of value to the people that are in the crowd?
I would say net life.
Spike, hold on just 1 second. Hey
right.
guys, we have 175 people in here and we're worth a lot of dollars per hour. If you're the one with the hot mic, do me a favor, check your microphone and mute it. There's too much money in the room right now going on, and there's one person that's ruining it. So will you do me a favor, check your mic settings and hit mute if it's you, so that the other 175 people in the audience can have the respect of their time. Spike, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say net life. I think in real estate, we spend a lot of time talking about how much we sell and sort of chasing a shiny nickel and pat ourselves in the back by how much we sell. But really, what counts is what kind of life you have, what kind of net life you have, what kind of net profit you have. Those are the things that I'm much more comfortable with after coming into your world, so to speak. Um, for us, we did more sales last year than I probably wanted to do, and we're going to dial it back this year just to have a better net life, so to speak. Hank, you still there?
Hey, Spike, I believe it might actually be your microphone. And I want to say thanks for Lisa to pointing out, guys, I'm not a jerk. I just take 175 people's time very seriously. I want to make sure that we can help the masses get what they're looking for. And if it was you, hey, tons of grace. We all deserve grace. And so, Spike, you were talking about net life, and you're actually going to sell less transactions, which goes completely against industry norm. What makes it okay for you to sell less transactions?
Well, we'll have a better personal life. We'll have more net income, and life will be much better all the way around. And not that it's not good now, but if we want to scale up our business, we got to incur more costs, bring on more agents, and that's just not a financial model we choose to participate in right now.
Spike, what you speak to is we've all made enough money to be super rich right now. And I know that's a broad statement, yet most of us don't have income problems. We have cash flow problems. Cynthia or Madhu, would you agree or disagree with that statement? Most of us don't have income problems. We have cash flow problems. And Madhu, it's actually your microphone, Madhu, that is hot. So if we can't figure it out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to come back to a different icon conversation, and we'll go from there. Cynthia, would you like to field that?
Certainly. I think most of the time, unless you're a brand new agent and you just don't have any transactions, so you therefore don't have any money. But if you're a seasoned veteran, I think sometimes you forget that you're making a lot of money, so you're either using your money and not you're doing the norm, and you're not saving, and you're not planning for the downtimes that we have. So, or you get so caught up in the fires, quote unquote, of the business, you forget to do the things that make you the money, and then it just starts this vicious cycle. So I think what you have to do is make sure that you make a budget, and whatever you're going to pay yourself on that budget, you pay it, and you don't overspend, so that those lean times you do have the money. It's all in planning, and that's a lot of that's why a lot of people get out of the business, because they make money and then they spend it all, and then they didn't do what they needed to do to make the money in the first place, and then real estate doesn't work.
What I love about this real conversation is in order to be an icon, you definitely have an abundance. Now, there's a term that that I've said before, and I would love to know where to give credit for, the term of destructive abundance. And oftentimes, what I see with icon agents or agents who do a lot of business is destructive abundance. What are you guys doing? And Spike's pointed out a little bit. What are we doing to avoid destructive abundance?
We're just being smart about it. I think our industry, awards people way too much for the sales of the team and not the profit or not their income. I think as you bring in more sales, your quality of life may go down, your quality of service may go down. You may not be able to get the things done you want, and that in the long term will hurt your business. I also think a lot of people look at business as sales minus expenses equal profits. That's what they teach us, but really it should be sales minus profits equals expenses. If you take your money out first, then you only have so much money left over for expenses, and I think it's a great way to control how you spend your money.
Love it. And also, I love the feedback, guys. Getting some feedback that I'm a little bit too aggressive. And you know what? I agree with you. I'm a little bit on tilt just because I look at everybody's time right now. We've been talking about time and the choices that we have. And when we have 170 people in here, I get it. I want to make sure that you guys find the value of spending your time here. And I probably was being a little bit too aggressive, so thank you for that feedback. So, Madia, when we look at you, were we able to figure out your hot mic situation?
I'm not sure what I'm doing or not doing. Is
Okay.
that happening?
No worries. We got a little bit of feedback there. Yeah, we will make it work. So let's talk about lead generation or lead attraction. What are you guys finding in the normalization of the market that you're looking to uptake?
Are you asking me or?
Sure. Whoever would like to field the question, what are we doing with the normalization of the market to adjust to keep the leads coming in?
Okay. For me, in my marketplace for last 8 years consistently, my leads have come directly from my other clients and their influence. It is just creating raving fans. That's what I find. That's where I have built my business, just having that connection with them. I've not had very much luck with online leads, likely because I'm much better with one-on-one. When people are calling, now I have to just show up and perform at the outstanding level instead of just trying to convert them at first.
So what I'm hearing you say is because you're relationship based, the normalization of market really shouldn't affect you because you've worked on really serving the people that have, and therefore you have written an insurance policy where it's not going to be as big of a deal. Is that fair to say?
100%. Like just before I got here, one of my client, I went and I know she's 85 years old, loves dark chocolate and green tea, and I found the best dark chocolate I could find, and I brought that to her, and she was like, you have no idea. And her daughter said, like, my mom absolutely loves you. Just this morning, she's called about 20 of her friends to tell them if they're ever looking for a realtor, they need to only hire Madhu because she remembers what you like. It just something so small, but it made my day seeing this beautiful elderly lady just in tears. She thought, I've done so many deals over the years and I've always loved dark chocolate, but nobody ever remembered. So something so simple but had the impact, and I know I'm getting probably several calls this week from her friends because they're all moving, and their kids and
Madhu, what we call that is by doing something simple, you earned headlock referrals, where she most likely is going out there and saying, if you don't use Madhu, you are not in my world anymore. Good job.
Thank you.
Cynthia, how about you? What are you doing to adjust to the normalization of the market?
We're really trying to kind of go back to our sphere. We got away from that a lot. So hitting our sphere, and my daughter is really good at video. And so I'm trying to take her cue because I really hate being in front of that camera. So it's really outside my box. So just trying to go where, where the market is going, which is video and Instagram over Facebook, I think, so just trying to learn those avenues. I mean, I've been in the business for a long time and I know some tech stuff, but I was worried about tripping on the stage here, so.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Wayne Gretzky, I believe, has the quote, "Go where the puck's going, not where it is." And I think that we all need to be looking at with the normalization of the market, identifying where we've gotten away with probably just lead receiving and being a little bit more proactive in finding finding the blue ocean, so to speak. Spike, what are you doing to do less business? And talk to us about how you're actually purposely going to raise your standard and be more selective. What are you going to do less business? Help me wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, it's a crazy concept, isn't it? We are, we probably have bent too much in the past with clients with pricing of homes, and we make an agreement with the client. We list their home, what they're going to do, what we're going to do, and if they don't, we hold them more to the fire about what they're going to do, and we make sure the home is priced properly. We're not going to let anybody talk us into a home that's too high priced. But I'm also not negative here. I'm not screaming a big market shift or anything like that. I mean, we just need to be better at what we're doing and do what we should be doing to be more successful in business right now.
Spike, I believe that words are important, and you pointed out the thing of shift, and I've been using the term normalization. And I would encourage us to consider using the word normalization, because I don't believe that we've been in a normal market. At least I coach agents all over the country, and it seems like we're just getting back to the normal. Would anybody else on the panel agree or disagree with that?
I agree 100%. And I think it's a little trendy right now to be negative and start screaming it's a market shift, and everybody just needs to stop doing that. It's not a market shift. Things are still selling great.
Our market is kind of changing a little bit. We have the lower end, which is still booming and multiple offers, but our 400 or 500 is slowed down, and our higher end, 8 million has definitely slowed down. So we are seeing a little bit of a market shift here, but that doesn't mean that we're going crashing down. I think it just means that we need to figure out where the market is and be where the market is, and maybe it's not landing all of the $1 million listings, but going where the market is. That's what we've always done, is you'll find us where the market is. So as it goes up, we go up. As it goes down, we go down.
Perfect. Now, when we look at daily activities, do any of you guys have something that is an absolute that has a huge impact on your business that you do every single day?
How's that for silence? We, we just have a routine that we do. My wife and I, we get up in the morning, we both have our morning routines, and then we start working at a certain time, and then we divide up. So our responsibilities are completely separated. So we're not talking to each other and overseeing each other. We just have our own, we both have our own roles, and those roles are defined, which I think is important with any partnership, that your roles actually have to be defined in writing. And then we, at the end of the day, we kind of get back together and collaborate on what we need to do tomorrow, and that's how we do it.
Love it. Madhu, how about you?
My routine every day, almost every day, is looking at what I've done the day before and how, I know it may not sound like much of a routine, but how can I do that better? What are the people that are supporting me? What do they need? And sometimes it's a daily checklist. Is everybody performing at the optimal level? And if there is something I can do to help them, how do I bring that to them? And right now, in March, I'm taking pretty much everybody that is supporting me to unleash the power within event for them to experience something totally different outside of work. And hopefully that would give them some. So for me, it's like, if I can function at the optimal level, I can bring the best to my clients, really, and to my team that is supporting me.
I love it. I love that what you're doing is you're investing in your team and the personal growth. And in my opinion, anytime you invest in growth in yourself, it's the biggest ROI that you can get. Cynthia, we've heard from the other two on what they do every day. Is there anything that you do to reflect on what went as planned and what didn't go as planned?
Every day, every day. I mean, you wake up with good intentions, and then the fires hit you. So, I think what I've learned to do is I've very rarely look at Facebook. If I do, that's at or very early in the morning or late at night, because I can't get drawn into the drama there. And every day, if I'm working, then I am up and ready and dressed at the time that I should be working, because for me personally, I know a lot of people being in the cloud, they're like, oh, I'm working in my pajamas or whatever. But to me, I'm a professional and I need to be ready for whatever might come my way. And if I'm in my pajamas and somebody says, I need to meet you in an hour, I'm not meeting them in an hour, and I might need to meet them in an hour, So for me, I think it's really important to get up and get dressed and be ready for your workday, and it just puts you in the mindset of doing what you need to do. And if you're looking at the fires, you're not, if you put your hand in front of your face, if everybody sat here and put their hand in front of their face and they had their hand closed and they stared at their hand, what do you see? You see your hand. But if you open your fingers and look past your hand, that you can see what you're supposed to be doing, and you're just not doing it. So it's every day I look and say, okay, did I look at the fires and let it get in front of me instead of doing what I needed to do? And a lot of times I do that because I'm just human and I get distracted. But if you kind of take a step back and say, okay, what is it that's really most important for my business? And that's lead gen, whatever that is. It doesn't matter whether it's online or you're making phone calls or you're knocking on doors, or that's the most important thing to do. And you need to do that first. And yes, I get that things come in and you have to do them or whatever, but so you have to take a step back and look at, every day, did I do what I was supposed to do? And if I didn't, then you better figure out tomorrow. Otherwise you aren't getting a paycheck.
I love the conversation there because, and I don't remember, one of my mentors once said something, and maybe you guys can fill it in or where it came from, is you can run your business a couple different ways. If you run it as a firefighter, you're going to have fires all the time. Does anybody know where that came from? Or maybe it was a book that I read. Do any of the people on the panel know what I'm speaking of?
I know the quote, but I don't know where it came from. It was just one thing that somebody said to me early on as well. My phone is a huge distraction, and it's always ringing and it's always texting and it's always, so I have to turn it off, or if I don't turn it off, at least I mute it, because otherwise, somebody calls you and you're like, they need you that minute, and no, they don't.
Well, I
They
think it's
really don't.
deciphering what's important and what's important and urgent. And I think oftentimes what we do is we allow someone else's urgency to encroach on what we could be doing, and therefore we end up being firefighters because we allow something that definitely is important to also be urgent. and there's only so much time, energy, and effort in a day. And if everything is always urgent and important, we're just set up to end up being in a rat race. So, Spike, I know that you do a very good job of deciphering between those. What have you done to decipher and to protect yourself, or build a bunker?
The do not disturb feature on my phone, so it automatically goes on and comes off at a certain time, and this way we don't get bombarded with stuff during that time.
So you mean that your business has survived without answering your phone every single time it rings?
Yeah, we're not brain surgeons. We're not. Nobody's going to die if we don't answer a phone call while we're at dinner or something like that. So,
You know, I love that is realizing that we don't have to work 24/7 if we do a great job setting expectations. And if we do a great job setting expectations, then our clients can choose whether or not to work with us or whether not to work with us. My question to the panel is, do you guys try to be everything to everybody, or are you okay with the fact that you might not be everybody's cup of tea?
it took me. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I used to try to be everything to everybody, and it really hurt my feelings if somebody didn't like me. But I've learned that I can't be everything to everybody, and even if I am, they can still not like me. So I've gotten over that.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Spike.
It took me probably about 3 years in business before I realized that I needed to learn how to fire a client or not take on a client. And it really took a solid 3 years to beat my head against the wall before I realized that.
And do you remember a defining moment that light bulb switched, or the switch cost switched, where you can now decipher that and maybe catch it on a macro or micro level instead of the macro level?
I do. I do. I was standing in somebody's front yard about to sign a listing with them, and they were complaining to me about everything beneath the sun. And then they started attacking me, and I didn't. Everyone in the house. I said, you know what? I'm just not the right fit for you, and just left in my car. And it was the greatest thing I've ever done.
You know, I had a broker one time that once said to me, Hank, some of the best deals you'll do are the deals that you don't. Some of the best deals you'll do are the deals that you don't. Um, Madhu, have you run into that?
I actually had a pretty transformative year last year, and I think for the first time, I I've learned that many times, but I didn't learn the lesson. And I know now I can't be everything to everybody. Doesn't matter how smart we are, doesn't matter how good we are, doesn't matter how kind we are.
You know, and I
So
think what
I've said no.
Well, Madhu, you know, it's funny because earlier Spike said Hank v. Hank, and if we try to be everything to everybody, what's going to happen is we're not going to be true to ourselves. And if we're true to ourselves, it allows us to serve the people that our style works with. And yeah, it stinks when not everybody loves us. However, that is part of life. Is not everybody's going to like us. So as we look with going through, we're over 1/12 of the year. How many of us are a little bit behind goal, or are we ahead of goal? Where are we at 1/12 of the year in? Spike, let's start with you because I know you know your numbers so well.
We're ahead of goal. We're having a really good January and February right now. We're we're actually about 35% ahead of goal right now.
Love that. Cynthia, how about you?
We are behind goal, not by much, but we are behind.
You know, Cynthia, one of my coaches once said, Ron Patulski said, awareness is transformational in and of itself. And something tells me just the fact that you're aware of it, you're doing the activities to self-correct that.
Yes, that is correct.
Madhu, how about you?
I'm feeling I'm on track to where I want my year to end. I'm probably about 8% behind, but that is consciously because some of the systems that I am planning on putting in place, they're in the works as we speak, and I'm in the process of hiring an office manager. So I don't want to be ahead of the game where I'm playing catch up. For a change, I am actually running my business, realizing I'm an artist and entrepreneur and not the manager. So that's kind of what is missing in my business right now. And we're seeking that as we speak. I've got some interviews that I got to do in next couple of weeks.
Love it. I love when we realize a gap in our business and we get after it to fill that gap. So what we're going to do now is I'd like for all of our icons, and thank you, by the way, guys, for taking your time and pouring into the agents that we have here. I'd like to give all of you 2 minutes to kind of get on your soapbox and share anything that you think the audience would find of value. Who would like to first?
I can go first.
Perfect. Go for it, Spike.
Um, One of the things we all read the book, so to speak, of when to hire people, how to hire people, what's the next person to hire. And one of the things we did last year, in the last quarter of last year, is we had a transaction assistant that left around mid-year last year, and we were never really happy with the way that worked and how she performed. And so instead of hiring a transaction assistant, my wife and I sat down and wrote down on a piece of paper things that we're not great at or don't like doing in our lives, so to speak. And some of it's work and some of it's personal. And we used that piece of paper to be a job description for a person to hire. We ended up hiring my wife a personal assistant, and it's been great for us. That's been actually amazing. So she does some of the things for her work wise, and she does other things. She might even be cleaning her closet out. Like, that's part of the job description. So, and that's probably been one of the best things we've done in the last couple of years.
That's awesome. So what you did was you leveraged out things that were probably easier to leverage out, like picking up laundry or doing laundry or cleaning the house. In I love it.
Picking up dry cleaning. Yeah, because we're great at other things, and we would never be happy with the way somebody writes emails or addendums or things like that. So we do that, and she does everything else we need done.
You stayed in your lane of the highest dollar per hour activity and the things that you enjoyed. Love it. Cynthia, how about you?
I would just say everybody needs to figure out what fits into their lives and what they really want, and you need to have a big why, because if you money isn't the big why, because I've seen so many agents who, the bill collectors are calling the office and they make a lot of money. So money isn't the reason for doing what you do. So figure out your big why, and then the rest of it kind of falls in place. And don't be afraid to try new things that you aren't comfortable with, whether it's, social media or internet leads or knocking on a door. Don't be afraid. Your business is really a bicycle spoke, so I don't, a lot of you guys are probably a lot younger than me, but when I was little, we had a lot of little spokes, and all those little wires going out. If you lost 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of them, you could still ride your bike. A lot of you depend on one thing or whatever, and when that spoke go down, your business is down. So don't be afraid to try new things, and find people who are doing it at a high level and learn from them, and don't reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of people here that know a lot more stuff than we all know, together.
That's what I love about the icons pouring back in and being so willing to help each other. Madhu, how about you?
I can resonate with both Spike and Cynthia. Um, Learning what I don't like doing, I can do it, but don't like it, don't enjoy it, and takes me longer to remove those tasks from my day to day and hire the right person. And this time, hire from not the heart. I tend to hire from the heart because somebody's nice, but that's not what I need. So that's one big change. Don't hire from the heart. Hire somebody who has skills that you don't have. And also from Cynthia's perspective, big why. And 2 years ago when I thought, oh, you know what, I made this much money. I'd never made that much money before. I started out making 8 cents a day growing up in India. Then, when I made my first 7.50 an hour, and I thought that was the best thing on earth. And then you're making almost $500 an hour. Then you think, wow, life couldn't get any better. And then you have to start thinking, why am I doing this? What it is that I need to bring to the world. And that's where you start having those personal conversations with yourself. And it isn't the money that drives us. And Cynthia is right. We all have different needs. And for me, it was not the money, it's my community that drives me. And really, that's where I had the big shift. And I did doubled the year before, doubled again last year. And I've been able to reach out in my community and really make an impact one by one. And to me, that took away the feeling of guilt of making that money, because I have a bigger purpose that the more we have, more we give.
Well,
So I've always been good at giving, but I got better at.
Madhu, one thing that I'm hearing from you is a whole lot of perspective here. And guys, one thing that I find is if you're struggling, getting perspective helps a lot of people find their why. Simon Sinek has a great book called Start With Why. Wayne Salmon's one of the coaches here that's with EXP, has a program called Find Your Why. Guys, Ryan Levesque has a strategy called the success pyramid, where he talks about entrepreneurship's at the bottom. From entrepreneurship, we go to freedom, then we go to impact, and then we go to legacy. All this centers around mindset. I want to appreciate you guys for pouring into yourselves. Thanks for the feedback. Some of you thought I was a little bit too aggressive. Some of you loved it. Give feedback for the Icon Conversations. I know with what's going on behind the scenes on their reframing and looking what the Icon Conversations is or what it isn't. One thing I love about this company is they do look at the feedback and they do have energy from the input that we give. So thank you for your guys' time. This concludes the Icon Conversation for February 8th. Madhu, Cynthia, Spike, thank you so much for your time. And keep doing what you guys are doing, guys. Appreciate it. We're going to get back to work. See you guys.